The MLB will hate what the Dodgers are about to do, as a video and image has surfaced online about a current Dodgers player meeting with Munetaka Murakami. We're going to be breaking it down, going over the reaction from the MLB community about this, and one thing that Dave Roberts is currently doing, which once again is putting more fuel to the fire on this situation. We're going to be breaking it all down here in this video. Before we do jump into it though, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, be sure to hit the sub button. Join us here on the channel. We're covering everything Dodgers, and we have a lot of stuff to cover as things are heating up on the free agent market, and things like this are sparking outrage amongst the MLB community. So let's jump straight into it. I want to pull up this first, and this is one of the spots that really received the most attention from this, and also from the original post. But you see here from Talking Baseball, Dodgers pitcher Yoshinobu Yamamoto and top Japanese free agent Munetaka Murakami grabbed dinner together, and you can see on the bottom 4.8 million views on this tweet, and this was not even the original source. This comes from Kenshiro Saito, excuse me, from coming off his Instagram, and having this picture catch the flames. MLB community has gone absolutely crazy once again, putting Murakami in the top position for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Now, before we do jump ahead of ourselves, this is still something that needs to be taken seriously, because obviously this is a major opportunity for the Dodgers. But also, these guys are friends. They're going to be going to dinner together regardless. But still, the fact that you're seeing this, the fact that it was put out there, the fact that it wasn't something that was kind of shrouded in the shadows, this is something that was put out there publicly, is sparking a lot of interest on this situation. And from everything that we have seen across the MLB community, there's been links from Murakami to the Dodgers among all of the other NPB free agents. But this one has the most. This one is one that we've been seeing the most. One that he's probably Munetaka Murakami, in this instance, is the top free agent outside of the MLB. So you immediately have to put the Dodgers into that conversation. And we've spoken about him here on the channel several times before, and our opinion has not changed. It's a sign that I would love to see on this team, and the way that this played out really only makes it more and more interesting for us. Now, when you go and take a look at Jeff Passan, he shared this, a list of 5 possible landing spots for Murakami. The Mets, the Red Sox, the Rangers, the Diamondbacks, and the Pirates. The Dodgers, still not on here. We've seen them before. We've seen them be linked to players that you wouldn't see Jeff Passan or Ken Rosenthal or any of the top insiders go ahead and link him to. But the fact that we're looking as, this kind of thing, once again, where more conversation is sparking, you're going to have the influence from your Japanese players on this top international free agent. The impact from that is astronomical. You want to play with your friends. That's no doubt. It is a business, but the Dodgers still have the upper hand on that because they can pay anybody they want, but they have the influence on the team already. Now, I'm still thinking that this could be something that, when we look at a possible option for Munetaka Murakami, he's one that every Dodgers fan will want, the Dodgers will want, but where will his fit really come into play? That is still really the biggest question for the Dodgers as to if they would fully pursue Murakami. And you have Freddie Freeman at first, you have Max Muncy at third. Realistically, the 2 position he plays. Now, we've seen him in the outfield for a handful of games, and we know the Dodgers are looking for an outfielder, but I don't think that they are going to consider Murakami as an option for the outfield at least. And when Ohtani is up, he's at DH. So really, you're leaving a slot there for Murakami. Where would they put him? Would they be able to kind of maneuver around Freddie Freeman and Max Muncy, and of course Alex Freeland as well, backing up on third base right now, who they want to get in the lineup, but they're not going to rush him? That's where the big question arises, as well as what he's really been doing at the plate over the past couple of seasons. And when we do take a look right here from Fangraphs, Murakami splits against good velocity at 63% contact rate since 2022, and against secondary pitches, just above 50% in 2025, are even more concerning. Especially, every secondary pitch type played an elite offering against him in 2025. Now, Murakami was also dealing with injuries, which is going to be a big factor as to why he may not have been able to catch up on whether it be a slider, changeup, curveball, whatever a secondary pitch would be. Against Velo, still wasn't great, but when you go back to his previous seasons, he was good. He was there. I feel like there's no question about Murakami's bat. Hits more for power, yes, but when you're looking at the possibility of him hitting for contact as well, he can do it. He's been able to do it. We've seen it from him before. So the fact that when we're taking a look at the splits with the Dodgers, that, you see a pretty decent home run rate per the season, I guess we could say. It's not as much as we see some teams like the Yankees because of the short porch and whatnot, but they find themselves well in the pack. And there's no players that they have that are shy of contact, that are shy of power. They have it all, and adding to that would only be ideal. And you see some down months, you see some up months. That will be the best thing to have Murakami for, is his bat. And the fielding will be there as well, whether they would put him at third or move him to first or give him the option to choose. That would still be determined, and that would be something that they would have to converse about while meeting. But one thing that has really kind of all come out with this, as well as one thing that we see scouts say for the Dodgers and the Pacific Rim scouts, they have one thing in specific, and this is one from one anonymous NL Pacific Rim scout, that just kind of is who he is. So the strikeout percentage is going to be there, the National League Pacific Rim scout said. It's just going to be, can he get enough home run damage to make it worth it? Is it going to be closer to a Kyle Schwarber production or Joey Gallo production? Now, while looking at these kind of comparisons, there's one thing noticeable. Power, lack of fielding. If that is the case, and we do see one difference, that Murakami is an infielder, that would raise some big questions for the Dodgers, but also other teams across the MLB. And if the Dodgers trust that what they can do internally would be to change Murakami's kind of approach, they can make that happen. Of course, we have some great players here. We have a lot of great staff here. I think there's a lot of ability to teach really anybody, especially Murakami, as young as he is, to be able to kind of change that approach, especially what they need him for. So that's one thing that I think is very, very interesting. Now, I do have a few more things here, kind of going around with this. When you look at his positions, once again, the outfield, 3 games. And that was the most recent season, now in 2025. But that has been it. It's been first, it's been third, mainly been third, which I think is pretty interesting because you do have Max Muncy, who's a little bit older. You're wondering if the body can hold up. You're wondering if you have someone else that can come in, although it would be Alex Freeland. Murakami would be a great fit there as well, and you really can't kind of pass that up when you're looking about the future for this team. So that is one thing that I'm still curious about as well. But one thing before we do finish this video off that I think is another very interesting point of concern that's almost, not a point of concern, but a very interesting point when you're comparing this image is when you go back right here and look at this from Dodgers Nation. Dave Roberts returned to Okinawa, his hometown this week, fresh off the back of a World Series title. He has to feel amazing. And they showed a video of him walking through the airport. You have to wonder if he is there having some sort of conversation with players. And I mean, that's just something that you have to think about, right? Because now that everybody from the NPB is posted, there is ongoing conversations. I think everybody knows that. I think that every team is having at least some sort of conversation. And I wonder if Dave Roberts is joining Shohei Ohtani, Roki Sasaki, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, and really starting and sparking these conversations over in Japan. So I ask you one question before we do finish this video off, and going on to this, do you think that this dinner between Yoshinobu Yamamoto and Munetaka Murakami had an impact on Murakami signing with the Dodgers? And give me a why for yes or an N for no in the comments. I feel like even if this dinner didn't have as much of an impact as what it may seem like from an outside standpoint, it still has had some sort of impact. You know that they're talking baseball. They're still probably talking about stuff that, they do on a daily basis, whatnot. But Murakami's asking how it feels to win the World Series, how it felt in Game 7. That is a question. So I wonder how much impact that is going to have on Murakami. And let me know what you think in the comments below here. That's all I got on this one, though. If you did enjoy, give it a like, hit the sub button as well. I'm signing up, though. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.